And me being a serial dater and all, I figured that I should share a story from my dating experience. I recently broke up with my ex-boyfriend in January. It was a wonderful experience. And January of like last year, so like a month later in February, around the time that I first came to StorySlam, I was actively dating other people. So I met this guy, and I thought he was, you know, he's a pretty relatively attractive guy, and I was going through that whole, like, I'm going to go get the opposite of the thing that I had, you know, so I'm going to get somebody who's like 10 shades blacker than my ass, and somebody who's like, you know, that type of thing or whatever, you know, because the guy had like big brown, yellow, so anyway, so I get this guy, whatever, I'm dating him, and like, because he was busy and I was busy, we decided we're going to go on like these 20-minute dates or whatever, so we'd go to like Barnes & Noble for 15 minutes or whatever, and that's how we're like getting to know each other or whatever. So one day he's like, you know, we've been on a bunch of 20-minute dates, like, why don't you come over to my house? So I come over his house, we decide we're going to watch like a movie together. And I should have known that this is not the guy that I wanted to be with for a really long period of time, because he made me watch this movie about Saddam Hussein, and like how he was really fucked up. And I'm like, you need a movie to tell you that shit? But okay, whatever. So we watched that movie, and then like as the movie went on, he proceeded to dry hump me, and I thought it was kind of weird because I'm like 28. So like normally, like when I'm with a guy, they usually like, you know, most guys are like trying to sleep with you, at least at this age. If they weren't trying to do it when you were younger, like now people are actually, they're in it for the pussy, you know, not for the hand job. He dry humped me, but I thought he was taking it slow, so I was like, okay, you know, it's cool. And then so then like our next time he wanted to come over to my house, he said, I want to watch a movie with you at your house. Now I'm deceptive because I don't have a DVD player. I make everyone watch movies on my computer, but he pissed me off when he came over and he didn't have a DVD, and that really bothered me. He was like, well, I heard you had, but when he came to my house, he's like all looking at my cable, because my crib is like nice, it's in the hood, but it's some nice shit though. You know what I'm saying? I got like the Mac and stuff, you know what I'm saying? I got 2 floors, I got an extra bathroom and shit, like my shit is nice. So like he's all chilling in my crib and stuff, and I'm like, he's just chilling entirely too hard or whatever. And then he proceeded to dry hump me again. But he didn't like try to sleep with me or whatever, but then on top of that, he brought 5 beers over, and I only drink wine, so I got pissed off that he came to my house. I'm African, he didn't bring me anything. I thought that was fucked up. You know? When you come to my house, you bring me shit. That's just how I am. So anyway, even though I don't offer you anything when you get there. So then I explained to him in like in regular words, this can't go on because you brought 5 beers over my house, you didn't bring me any wine or whatever, and you keep dry humping me, and I want to have sex with somebody at some point. It's not going to be you. So rather than you take me on a couple of coffee shop trips, I think this isn't going to work out. He was like, I work, you know. He told me I work 9 to 5. He was telling me, well, I work 6 to 10. You're discriminating against me because of my schedule. I was like, let me tell you something. When it comes to pussy, you can discriminate on any level. You know what I'm saying? You can discriminate race, creed, color. Like I can say, I do date Mexicans because they have jobs. I date people with jobs. So I'll date anybody really, as long as you're employed. So anyway, so then he's telling me, like, you know, I'm really pissed off, and he starts like calling me like every 5 minutes. So I'm like, this is fucked up, whatever. And somehow, in the midst of all this bullshit, he had told me that he had a DUI, and because my brother had one, I was like, you know, I'm going to look past his DUI, and that, like, will come back later in the story or whatever. But I'm like, you know, trying to look past this shit. I'm like, you're bringing too much bullshit to the table. You can't drive, and that was before I had a car. And I normally don't date people who can't drive because I didn't have a car at the time. Like, currently, I don't date people without washing machines because I don't have one. My shit's low. So anyway, like, if a dude's not trying to let me wash my laundry at his crib, then he's not trying to fuck with me for real, you know what I'm saying? Because somebody's going to have to clean these drawers. So anyway, so we're over there or whatever. He's getting mad, like, you know, you not calling me or whatever. So I started reading this book called Why Men Love Bitches. So I was like, okay, if I'm really nice to him, then he's not going to want to fuck with me. So I start calling him whenever I knew he was at work, and then I start crying on the phone. I'd be like, why won't you talk to me and shit like that. And the shit was working, man. One day he calls me, curses me out, calls me all types of bitches. Alright, but anyway, the moral of the story is, so later on, he's calling me every 5 minutes, so I like block his number. Then he calls me up. Then he starts emailing me all types of shit and trying to friend me on Facebook, like I want to be with you and stuff like that or whatever. And I end up on Google, looking him up on Google, because I was completely bored, and I've been dating online, which is a whole other issue. And and I was like, maybe I should fuck with somebody I used to already fuck with, right? And then he's telling me, I go and look him up online to find out, like, what is up with this DUI, because that was his worst thing other than the dry humping and then the one time he had the dirty socks in my house. But that's a whole other issue because that's when my washing machine worked, and he didn't let me clean them. But anyway, so I look online, I find out that he was actually in a high-speed chase where he chewed a bag of weed up. And, and he was drunk and he was driving, and he didn't really really have a DUI. He had a fucking situation with a bag of weed, and he was telling me that no, I can't. That was what his issue was. But his issue was really that he fucking chewed up a bag of weed or whatever, and he was a fucking bad date. Over again.